ライオン神エスカノール様だ。震えるさ。
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's the return of the shiny forehead, and we have a maintenance notice in 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. So this is like a news video, and normally I don't do these news videos, but I think this one is really important because I need to get this out there, not only for the players, but also for the Netmarble Fund developers of 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. If on the rare chance they're like, hey, this guy makes Marvel Future Fight content, maybe we should watch his video while he rants about 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. So yeah, there's some ranting, there's going to be some criticisms. Now, what is coming with this update tomorrow? We have the story chapter 10, which means we're going to get the end of story chapter 9, which means yay, 30 diamonds for everybody. Yeah. We are getting the reverse stages, which are the reverse of the story stages that we played before, where you basically play as the villains against the heroes. So instead of being Meliodas fighting Hendrickson, now you have to play as Hendrickson fighting Meliodas. It's kind of cool, but it's actually where the bulk of the criticism comes from. And then we are getting the part 2 hero draw. Now, the part 2 hero draw is the part 1 hero draw, but part 2. So hopefully we'll be getting, we will be getting some part 2 tickets. The part 1 are here, so we'll be getting the part 2 SSR, which includes, most of the characters that have been released since they stopped adding them to the part 1, minus the coin shop characters. And you can sort of figure out who that is based on when the last character was added to this one. And you can just sort of, do the math here based on who's here and who's not here. Actually, you know what? Coin shop characters are here, so you're going to have coin shop characters in part 2 anyways. Yeah, well, sadly, part 2 tickets are much rarer than part 1 tickets. If you're wondering whether you should save them or not, it just depends on whether a character you really want is going to be added to the part 2 tickets, when you think they're going to be added roughly, and if you have the patience to wait. That's really just what it comes down to. But we'll see who is in the part 2, like how many characters in the part 2 when it first gets added, because I don't know the list precisely, but it's not too big of a deal because they're GSSRs anyway, so it's not it's not really make or break. But the real issue here with the upcoming update is with the oh, by the way, guys, the BOGO, the Diamond BOGO is being reset. Yes, and we're gonna be losing the Lilia step up banner, and we're gonna be losing the Lilia Valenti growth event for the SSR pendant. So if you haven't added anyone and you haven't finished that one, you are basically looking at the end of the clock here. So if you need to, you have to add someone who has, I think you need both of these characters, or maybe you just need Lilia. Anywho, yeah, I think you just need Lilia. So you just need to add someone who has Lilia. Maybe you need Valenti too, and you need to play through it. But you can borrow your friend's characters. So, well, you should have a copy of Lilia by now anyway. So maybe you don't need, maybe this advice is not needed. But if it is, use the mercenary system. Now, what's the problem with the reverse stages? Well, the reverse stages are, from what I understand, from what I gather, I haven't played them on JP, but from what I gather, the reverse stages are quite difficult because unlike the characters that you normally use for the content, you can't use any of them. So Gother, Escanor, Merlin, all the Meliodases, Arthur, all the like hot characters, King, you can't use any of them. These are the reverse stages, so you have to use basically the bad guys, and that includes a lot of the Holy Knights. And if you've read the manga or seen the anime, it's a lot of the people that the 7 Deadly Sins fight in Season 1. It's most of the Season 1 and Season 2 characters. So you've got, like, the Dreyfuses, the Hendricksons, the Dogitos, the Vivians, and the Friezas, and the Fresias, the Hugos, the Judes, the Simons, Weinheit, the Roaring, what are they called? The Roaring Dawn? Roars of Dawn, yeah. So all of these types of characters, the Taizus, right? The Taizus, the Hausers, the Gilas, the Gil Thunders, you have to use all of those characters. And for most players, they haven't been focusing their resources on those characters because, by and large, those are more support type characters, they're more association type characters. They're not the big guns of the game. They're not going to carry you to champion in PvP. They can carry you to champion in PvP if you're quirky and you like to play off type teams. But no one's out here rocking level, like not many players, especially free to plays, have level 80 completely maxed out Death Pierce. By the way, you need Death Pierce as well. You need Deldry, you need Arden. Now, on top of needing all of these characters to be built up to use in these reverse stages, what else is the problem? Well, you can't use gear. It's a gearless requirement. If it's going to copy JP, it's a gearless requirement, which immediately makes it a lot harder because you can't like cheese it by just slapping on a bunch of SSR gear. So it's kind of like Training Cave in that sense. And then on top of that, if you don't have the required unit, you cannot play the stage, and you cannot borrow the required unit from a friend using the mercenary system. Yeah. So if you queue up, the stages don't go in order, so you're not necessarily going to get stuck on a stage. You sort of have a map that you can just scroll around to play any stage that you want. But if you pick a certain stage and it's like, hey, you need Ardry and Deldry and Arden. I swapped their names. You need Deldry and Arden, and you don't have those characters, you just cannot play the stage. And the rewards for the reverse stages it's sort of like Training Cave, whereas as you get more stars, it unlocks rewards on a bar, kind of like the hammers, the hammers of Izel, after you get a certain number of wins in the Training Cave. So the bar fills up and you get diamonds, which pretty good reward, and you get part 2 SSR tickets, so GSSRs. So really good rewards. Really huge bummer that you have to invest in all these characters, but okay, that's not so bad, right, Alex? Like, we're playing this game, we're supposed to invest in all these characters. They're good for Training Cave, or they have good support passives for other content, final boss stuff for Jillian, knighthood boss, etc. What's really the problem? Okay, here's the real problem. If you're not a whale, like, look at my account. I've spent like almost $2,000 on this game, and I have every character you are, but that's because I've spent $2,000 in this game. I can afford to take a character like Simon to 6 sticks, 60. But if you take a look for rare characters, it's 30 pendants for every single upgrade. So taking them from, rare to super rare to super SSR, and then SSR to UR, and then each one of the limit breaks. By the way, level 60, not going to cut it for a lot of the reverse stages. You need to go to 65, 70, sometimes 75, sometimes 80. So going from 60 to 80 right there is what, 120 rare pendants? Who the hell is sitting on like 1,000 rare pendants right now? Right? 1,000 rare pendants wouldn't even get you 10 characters. And I listed off multiple characters, way more than 10. By the way, you don't have to worry about the typing. So if it says like use Hauser, you can use red Hauser. You don't have to use green or blue Hauser. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should always use like red Hauser, for example. Like some stages, maybe blue Hauser is better or green Hauser is better. Maybe not for Hauser, maybe Hauser's a bad example, but for other characters where they have multiple colors that are useful in different ways, like maybe you need red Dreyfus or green Dreyfus, but the typing, that doesn't matter. Like the color, the attribute doesn't matter. It's just the character itself that matters. So that sort of improves it a little bit, but the main problem here is the pendants. So the reason why I wanted to make this video, the reason why I was hoping that the Netmarble Fun devs would be listening and watching, and hopefully they're watching all the other videos by Sekapoku and other people because they're saying the same thing. Global's not ready, especially for low spending and free-to-play players. They're just not ready for this because it just requires way too many pendants. I'm gonna have to exchange a lot of coins here to get pendants. Like, I'm gonna have to dump like a couple hundred probably. And you just can't afford to do that as a free-to-play because you need to spend all of your silver coins on pots. Now, there is one thing you can do. It's not necessarily it's probably your best option at this point, I will say. It's not necessarily the most efficient thing ever, but if you want to be able to do the reverse stages, and if you don't want to just, ignore them for a few months, then you should probably start spending your friendship coins on rare metals. So it's not a very amazing exchange, but it's 2 to 1 compared to pots. So for 2,000, which is your sort of soft cap, you can only get 5 pots. You can get 10 rare pendants. So, that means every kind of week, I guess, maybe every 5 days, you'll be able to limit break or upgrade one rare character, because you'll get about 30. You'll get about 6,000 of these friendship coins in about 5 or 6 days, maybe a week if you don't have a maxed out friends list. But that's so slow. Like, it's gonna take you months, right, of doing this. It's gonna take you months to just get a few characters maxed out so that you can, not even maxed out, like 65, 70, 80, just so that you can do those reverse stages. So yeah, and the main issue why this is a problem is because Global is getting this now in the 4th month, right? We had March, the drop of the game was March, April, May, June. So June is about to end. So we're technically 4 months into the game. The Japanese version, the Japanese server got these reverse stages after 8 months. So this is what you're going to hear a lot. We're basically getting the content 4 months early. Now that's good. It's especially good for players that spend a lot of money on this game because they're just getting pumped with content, and Netmarble is getting pumped with cash. But it's a real bummer for free-to-play and low-spending players. You feel as though the mountain of content that you have to complete and that is maybe too hard for you is just growing larger and larger. The good thing, the sort of, lessen your worries is reverse stages don't go away. So it's not like this is a limited time thing like final boss. They're going to be there forever, so you can work your way up to completing all of them. Don't worry about that. But, you know, on the flip side, I really think, honestly, if I was Netmarble and I wanted to make the players happy, I would release an event, like a bingo event or a spin event or whatever you want to call it, one of these events, and I would give away like 150 rare pendants or like 300 rare pendants. That would probably be a decent push. I mean, 300 sounds like a lot, but it's honestly not. It's honestly not a lot. It's crazy. It's crazy how many rare pendants I'm gonna need. It's crazy how many rare pendants people are gonna need. I'm not even touching SR. You're gonna need SRs too for like Slater and those are the characters. So I'm just focusing on rare right now because you actually need a lot more rare. You need 10 SR pendants for every limit break. You need 30 rare pendants. And even if you do all of your Solgris dungeon events, and even if you buy these with friendship coins, you don't have enough, right? You don't. You just don't. It's impossible. It's impossible. Like, I have what? How many of these do I have now that I bought 10? I have 100. I'm going to need like 200-300 easily. And how many of these do I have? I have 3. You see what I mean? I have 3. And I don't even have that many SR characters maxed out, right? I've got Red Lizhawk at 70 for crying out loud, you know? Yeah, sure, I got Slater at 80 because I like him for PvP, but that's it. Everybody else is sitting at 60, 65 here and there, but tons of 60s and tons of just like barely upgraded characters. Some of them are 6-star, some of them aren't. But yeah, so I've spent, this is the thing, I've spent $2,000 in this game. I haven't spent money buying SR pendants and rare pendants, but it doesn't surprise me in a sense that they're doing sales where maybe I have it actually. Okay, I don't have it, but some of these daily sales let you buy, you know, what is like 30 SR pendants and something else for $5, and like one of those event bundles for $5 Canadian. You have this bundle here, which suspiciously gives you, you know, so it's pretty much obvious to me that the Netmarble devs are hoping to convert some free-to-plays into low-spending players by offering some of these lower-priced deals in the $5 to $10 range, trying to get people to bite on these pendants, on these big pendant bundles. And I wouldn't be surprised if they threw out like a, you know, 300 rare pendant bundle for like $10, $20 just to try to see if they can get some purchases on that. I don't think that's the way to go. Honestly, I don't think that's the way to go at all. I think this game has a fine monetization system as it is. It's a bit aggressive. I don't like that there should be more step-up banners in my opinion and pities and stuff like that. But I think this is the wrong way of going about trying to convert low spending or free-to-play players into spenders by choking them and you know, really drowning them, not drowning them, I guess like suffocating them without pendants. But that's how it feels, right? You just feel like I need like 500 pendants and I have 0. So you either open your wallet or you just slowly get through the stages. So yeah, that's basically the rant. Hopefully someone at Netmarble listens to any one of the content creators, because we're probably all going to be echoing the same thing. I love the fact that Global is catching up to JP. I personally want Global one day to catch up to JP, but I think that the devs need to... by the way, the reason why I want Global to catch up to JP is that I want things to be a surprise for everyone. I enjoy that. And I don't enjoy like being able to see what's coming ahead and plan it out perfectly. I like the exploration. I like the discovery. Like, for example, for Final Boss Gother, a lot of JP suggestions didn't include Hauser. And then suddenly Hauser becomes a huge part of scoring high. So I really love that sort of sense of exploration. And I feel like we don't have enough of that because of knowing what's coming. But that is what it is. But yeah, I do want Global to catch up to JP, but the developers, the Netmarble Fund developers, need to give Global more in order to allow us to catch up. Because going at twice the speed and not giving us twice the rewards to compensate for that, you're basically going to destroy the player base of the game. Because, you know, if free-to-play players and low-spending players are constantly feeling strangled and choked and throttled by lack of rewards, they're going to stop playing. And then when they stop playing and you go into PvP, you're only fighting against whales. And the psychology of free-to-plays and whales, you need both, right? You need both. Free-to-play players need to fight other free-to-play players in PvP, especially geared. And you also have that David versus Goliath thing. But then, you know what? Whales like beating up on free-to-plays, and whales like beating up on smaller whales and dolphins. That's just sort of the logic of it. But if you take one of those groups out, i.e. you take away free-to-plays and you sort of shrink the population, it throws everything out of whack and everything out of balance, and it's bad for the game. So I think in order to avoid that, I think Netmarble needs to be more generous to free-to-play players. They need to be more generous with the rare pendants especially, and a little bit of SR pendants as well, in order to continue this pace. As far as the banner goes, by the way, last piece of thing here, this is speculation, not opinion. Well, it's still opinion, but it's not like a rant or whatever. Because we got the double Molascula banner, and we're going into part 2 with chapter 10, I would guess we're probably going to see either double Monspeet banner or double Derriere banner. That would be my guess. I could be wrong, obviously, but that's my guess. Let me know what you guys think is coming as far as the banner. There's definitely going to be a banner announcement tomorrow, and I'll be doing polls live on Twitch for that as well. But yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the reverse stages. Are you ready for the reverse stages? I'm honestly not ready myself, so I'm going to have to go on an upgrade spree on the stream, probably upgrading, starting with clowns like Alioni, to get some of these characters built up. I honestly personally wanted to. Seka's been talking to me in my ear about Death Pierce, so I honestly want to upgrade Death Pierce. I got his affinity for his carrot sword, but yeah, I just feel bad for free-to-play players and low spenders who basically don't have a choice and are kind of locked out of a lot of this content. It's great that we're getting more content, but it's a bummer to know that a lot of players are going to be like that kid on Christmas standing outside the window looking in, and he's like, wow, look at all that food. I wish I could have some. So, you know, listen, Netmarble, open the door, give the players more rare pendants so that we can all sit at the dinner table together and have a wonderful, delicious meal. Anyways, hit me up in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.